All right, welcome everybody. Tonight's Committee of the Whole. It's Tuesday, October 7th at 6:30 p.m. Can I get a roll call?
Finkler.
Here.
Hammer.
Here.
Lawson.
Here.
Meyer.
Here.
Reed.
Here.
Relke.
Here.
Rostad.
Here.
I acknowledge this meeting was posted and noticed according to law.
All right, I'll look for a motion to approve tonight's agenda with the removal of number 5. That will be taken care of next week, right?
So move with the correction. Second.
All right, we got a first by Alder Rostad and a second by Alder Meyer. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Agenda approved. Public comment? None. All right, new business, overview of the 2026 city budget.
Good evening. I'm going to kick off the budget introduction, then you'll hear from each of our department heads. We've got a schedule set up. We're going to try and move through as efficiently as possible, but don't hesitate to ask questions. In terms of process and timeline, tonight's our first work session. As I mentioned earlier, department heads will be presenting. In what you're going to see in this presentation, we'll be meeting again next week to review changes that are currently being worked on, as well as to approve the budget ad. The deadline to approve the budget ad is October 19th. That allows us to have public hearing on November 4th. The intent is that then the budget would move to the council on October 21st. Consider the proposed budget that we review on the 14th, incorporate any changes. Public hearing on November 4th, and the council could either consider budget approval following the public hearing and setting the levy, or waiting for any changes to be incorporated and approve the budget on November 18th. Either date allows us to comply with state regulated timeline for budget approval. I'm not going to read to you. Again, these are proposed budget priorities. They haven't changed a great deal from last year. Numbers that are impacting the budget. Increase in state shared revenue, we're getting an additional $26,000. Increase in expenditure restraint payment, and this will come up later. It's an important one. That's another $18,000 increase, and increase in connecting highway aid of $18,000. Costs affecting the increase to increased expenses. We have a general wage increase of 3% across the board that's included in the budget. That's $100,000 roughly, in rough numbers. Later this evening, we'll be talking about the agreement with our professional police organization. That's an anticipated increase of $150,000. We have insurance and healthcare increases, roughly 8.5%. Our EMS contracted service increase, 33%. We have a reduction in personal property aid from the state of $16,000, and we continue to see inflationary costs for services, parts, equipment, all of those kind of normal things that we've talked about a lot. Property values. Again, I think the key here is you notice how assessed and equalized catch each other when you do an assessment. So we reassessed in 2024, and those numbers should get really close to each other in a reassessment. My recommendation is that we try and get to a reassessment every 3 years. We're required to do it every 5. But I think if you do it every 3, you're going to see less of those significant increases than if you wait 5 years. Our general obligation debt, the city continues to be in a very good standing in terms of their debt. We've averaged between $9 million and $11.4 over the past 5 years. This year's general obligation debt is $10.9 million. The state this year would allow us to go to 35. Our city policy would allow us to go to 23. We're nowhere near those numbers. Capital projects that we've heard about previously, and if you have questions, you'll have opportunities to ask department heads tonight about their capital plans. But you see the breakdown there, roughly $5.2 million. Significant being the two largest projects are the design phase of 1.9 million for the proposed public safety building, and West School Street, the general fund portion of that is just under 1.4 million. Again, just a cool graph showing you that most of the tax dollars are general fund items, and then there's also significant to debt service portion that goes to the library, to the cemetery, the aquatic center, stormwater. This is, again, the proposed 2026 budget. You can see the change. There's a proposed 8.9%, which was not reality for what I'll be explaining here in a little bit and why we're going to be meeting next Tuesday night. Requested budget in terms of expenditure by different breakdown areas. Proposed tax rate, again, this is based on the budget that you're reviewing tonight. There'll be another one next Tuesday. The proposed budget on an average assessed home, we use $262,700 as our average assessed value in the community. The proposed budget in front of you would see an increase in the city's portion of the tax bill of $133. I can tell you that's not reality. It's going to be $41.45 based on what I'm getting to. I guess I should have moved this slide earlier in the presentation. We've seen other communities do this. This is a breakdown, a receipt, if you will, of that proposed. This is, again, is on an average assessed value home, paying $1,783.89 in taxes, and you can see the breakdown that, again, on an average assessed home, about $430 for debt service, $420 for the police department, $261 for public works, $141 for recreation aquatics, $121 for the library, so on and so forth, all the way down to emergency management, where we pay $4.17 of our taxes towards emergency management. Levy calculation, and this is getting into the kind of the crux of the decision. So the allowable levy, and I'm on the top part of this chart here, the allowable levy number is a number the state tells us. That's what we're allowed to levy, okay? We never actually levy that number. We always levy more. One of the adjustments that the state allows us to do is use a portion of our debt service to increase our levy to meet our need. The need in this proposed budget is $4.5 million, so we'd be using $887,056 of our debt service to increase our allowable levy. The concern here becomes that if we continue on this trajectory, we're going to push up against our debt service, or what I'm projecting as our debt service in the next couple of years. So one of the reasons that we're going to be meeting next week is to talk about making sure that we're managing this number and maintaining a cushion in our debt service so that if something does happen, I don't know what that something would be, but that we've got greater flexibility moving forward, and that we're leveling out how much debt service we're using to adjust our levy. The other factor is, on Thursday of last week, we got a letter from the state as we were finalizing packets and putting everything together, telling us what our allowable increase for expenditure restraint would be, which is 3% over last year's general fund. So with that being told, I can tell you our target levy is, skipped ahead. Our target levy is going to be $4.2 million. The proposed budget in front of you is $4.5. But that is a 3% increase over last year. That's the most we can go and still qualify for expenditure restraint. That results in the previously aforementioned $41.45 tax increase on an average assessed home. It lowers the mill rate from $6.79 in the proposed budget that's in front of you tonight to $6.55. In order to do that, we need to cut $260,000 from the budget that's in front of you tonight, which would allow the city to qualify for expenditure restraint. This year, we received $91,000 in expenditure restraint. Our revenues are really important. We need to ensure that we're focusing on revenue generation moving forward, and especially making sure that we qualify for the expenditure restraint program to receive that additional revenue from the state. In the recommended cuts that I'm working on currently have shared with our department heads and will be presenting to you next Tuesday, would be to fund our stormwater utility and eliminate that amount currently from our general fund. The move to funding a utility would cut essentially $59,000 of that needed 260. It would also removes the need to borrow for stormwater projects and provides increased flexibility in borrowing for increased spending on facilities, streets, and other capital needs moving forward. We'll talk a little bit more about the stormwater utility in a minute. As mentioned earlier, we'll be presenting a list of cuts in a new budget next Tuesday. Stormwater utility. The 5-year project list that we've built the stormwater utility, and I've worked with Jason Letha at Rupert Milkie on this. We have the 5 street projects, the stormwater portion of the next 5 years street projects, along with the next 5 priority projects in our stormwater management plan. You'll remember there's 19 priority projects, of which we are doing one of the highest ranked priority projects this year in Fireman's Park. These are the next 5 projects that Jason feels have the most benefit to stormwater management within the city. It's a total cost, including the street projects and those 5 projects in the next 5 years, of $3.9 million. We would need to collect annually just over $790,000 in a stormwater utility to fund those projects. The fee breakdown here, at the end of the day, the monthly residential ERU charge would be $15 to a single-family home. That's $15 a month or $180 a year. That would generate $802,881 in revenue for the stormwater utility that would then pay for those stormwater projects identified on the previous slide. Any questions about anything covered quickly there in that presentation? Okay. As identified, each of the department heads will be kind of going through their budget presentation. I've labeled the page numbers on the slide and we'll alternate between the slides and the budget document so that can follow along on the screen if you're trying to. But with that, I'll turn it over to Susan, our clerk.
Hi, everybody. So the clerk's budget is not going to change too much between 2025 and 2026, except for we will be going into a 4-election year rather than the 2. So that is a substantial increase when it comes to staffing needs and supplies and such. As of now, we're not purchasing any new equipment for elections. The new software upgrades on the ES&S and the DS200 that we currently have, which is where you put your ballots into the machine, and the Express Vote touchscreen machines are being upgraded by ES&S, and they are just now rolling into neighboring municipalities and other counties. Columbia County is not ready to make that move yet. So we are looking at probably doing an upgrade on those in about 2 years. So probably the 28 budget, I'm guessing. And that would be around $15,000 increase at that time for new equipment, but that is shared with the county. Other than that, just the 3% factored in salary increase, and I did have some increases in training and conference education because I will be trying to work some more of that into this next year as I grow in my clerk position, not just in locally, but in with the state. So, does anybody have any questions?
Line 332, mileage and expense. Is that a typo? It doesn't I know you said you upped your training and continued education, but it doesn't.
So
Mirror
to
the
explain here a little bit without getting too far ahead of ourselves, this is one of the numbers that's going to be adjusted. Clerk Kane would like to attend a national conference next year, and I'm supportive of that. What we'll be doing is lowering, this will be one of the cut numbers, and we'll be using my training budget numbers for her to be able to attend that national conference. What I want to get to is a rotation of our department heads where everyone's getting an opportunity every few years, maybe not every other year, maybe not every 3 years, but trying to set up a rotation where everyone has an opportunity to go to a national conference, because I think there's a great value in going out and seeing what's happening nationally. But there are increased costs, obviously, to be able to do that. And I was fortunate in 2024 to go to the National City Management Conference. Kendra is recently returned from a national conference regarding the C.O.W. software that we had, so that was 25. And the plan for 2026 is for the clerk to attend. So we'll be eventually lessening this line and using available funding in my budget for her to be able to go to that national conference. All right. Going back to our schedule, next up is Mike Kornman, our Community and Economic Development Director. He's going to be starting on page 7. There's a number of different budgets that he has responsibility for. Mike, when you move from one to the next, if you could just update the page number that they're on.
Sure. So right now, we're on page 7. Most of this is pretty similar. I'm just going to point out the main highlights of the significant differences here. The line 210, I'm not highlighting. As you know, we're in the middle of the zoning rewrite, and we were funding that between 2 years. And we had some, with the contract, some savings of what we anticipated. So we have line 210, 60,565 to carry us the remainder. I'm not quite sure if we have money unspent in this year. I'm not quite sure how that's going to be carried over, so we'll want to make sure we have that piece, how we're going to deal with carryover monies, or if that should be budgeted up. And then if we go through the other significant difference, there is historic preservation went down significantly. There has been spending in that area, so that's been reduced from 7,850 to 2,500. And I think some of the other lines are pretty similar, been minor adjustments to reflect what we anticipate spending next year. And then in media, we've got, and I think some of the salaries, some of my salaries back on the planning stuff is in a couple different areas. So that's what you won't see all my salary in one line. I believe it's also in CDA and possibly utilities, is my understanding. Any questions on that section on planning? In the media, here with some of the percentage changes on website stuff is really for updating the website and the allocations for what we do in each department for updates. So there's not really any significant changes there. So that's on 7. Scroll through, go down to, where is it?
I think next, Mike, was page 8 for inspections.
Oops, I went
with
right by
the
it.
number with MSA.
Right, I'm going right by it.
I'll
Why
help
am
you
I
out, Mike.
not seeing it?
The building inspection line is reducing from last year's budgeted 54,400 to 50,000 this year, and that's based on data that you've got from MSA based on this year.
Yeah, I guess I'm just not, I'm getting Excel spreadsheet,
Second from the bottom.
on page 8. I see annexation payments.
Yeah.
No, okay,
The
second.
next section up.
Yeah, second section.
Gotcha, all right, yeah, yep. Yeah, it's just that we have a better idea of what our new contracts in our place, so we just made some adjustments there. And we have a better idea on the revenue we're accepting, so we're doing things a little bit different with this contract. Previously, the vendor would get paid a percentage of the fees. And so then, but this way, the way we're doing it now, we're collecting the revenue, and then we're actually getting billed for what they actually do. So if they perform an inspection, they charge us for it, where previously, if they didn't do an inspection, they still collected the revenue, or the percentage of the revenue. So this, from our initial analysis, this is working out better on there, so.
Oh, question.
Oh, Alder Reed?
Oh, thank you. Question for the inspections. Were we able to get in-person service this time?
Yes, we have someone in the Tuesday mornings from 9:30 to 11:30, every Tuesday.
Excellent.
So I believe CDA is next.
Yeah, that's going to be page 20. And just for a brief overview, page 19 ends the general fund. So starting with page 20 are all of our special revenue funds, and those balance. There's revenue to offset expense. Some of them have, like the CDA has a contribution from the city, and that's an amount that that is in our transfers that is levied for. But the idea with all of our special revenue funds is that their revenue has to match expense. They all carry fund balances. One of the things we're working on is kind of an update to show you kind of what the beginning fund balance is projected in 26 on all of these special revenue funds as part of the budget document. That's one of my hopes, that by next Tuesday we've got that included for you.
Yeah, so like Matt said, there's contributions to CDA from the city, also from each TIF district. There's contributions that go into CDA. There's some interest in there.
Room tax.
Room tax, yes, some room tax in there. I think I know what miscellaneous income revenue is, but I'm not fully sure. That might be the charger units in the parking lot, I believe. That's a unique funding source that we may need to take a look at. In expenditures, one of the things, we maintain our facade grant program at $32,500. That's the same amount as last year, and those funds have been allocated in I think July was the meeting that those funds were allocated in the 2025 budget, so it's been a successful program. It also has $20,000, that's line 2019, $20,000 to help with the downtown plan. That's one of our strategic plan initiatives, is to provide a vision for downtown. What that does is creates a plan where it'll help us qualify for grants. With this level of funding, we're looking to do a lot of the plan as a process, as staff, and using most of this money to provide the graphic renderings that can help with the vision part of downtown. That's the skill set that we don't have in-house, and that will, that's kind of a big part of the plan is communicating the vision. So that's what that contracting fee would be used for there. We have a reduction in marketing because we expect to use some funds from in 2025 for that project. So everything else should be pretty similar on the expenditure side.
Alder Lawson?
Excuse me, on page 20, TIF 7, I thought we weren't going to have increment in TIF 7 until 2027.
We don't have increment in 5, well, until this year, we haven't had increment in 5, and we haven't had increment in 6. But it's always been set up where those TIDs are contributing to CDA. So the TID may go negative in its early years, but the idea is that it funds in the later years.
So the balance in the TID actually goes negative? Like we can make imaginary money? All right.
It's not imaginary.
It's future
IOU.
future revenues. Yeah.
IOUs to the TID. Yeah.
Alder Meyer?
Are we sure that this $20,000 is going to be enough? I mean, it's going to be on 219 on page 21. $20,000 for the professional fees for downtown. I mean, what was originally proposed was $25,000 without the 3% gap coverage. I mean, if we're budgeting 20 grand, if it goes over, in my mindset, we're not variancing anything to cover what we're not budgeting for here. So I just want to make sure that we're covering that because that's
We're good.
a $9,000 drop from what was proposed.
We will need to do this, design the process and facilitate the process in-house. And these this will be for the graphic design element. I wouldn't feel comfortable allocating, trying to hire a consultant for the whole process. With some of the information I received, to do an entire plan would probably cost more than that. So as a way to kind of balance creating a quality plan and keep costs under control, we would do this process essentially in-house except for the renderings, the graphic renderings.
Okay, that makes more sense.
If there's no further questions, I think the next budget for Mike is page 27, the cable fund.
So franchise fees will not last forever in this fund, but it continues to go forward. We have part of a staff position funded through here, part of David's salaries is through there. We have additional contributions in there that can go towards professional services and along those lines. And a lot of these are for programming and pretty similar to last year. But a lot of this goes into the cable TV aspect and some of all the background stuff that does on the cable network side.
Alder Lawson?
So those last three that are 10, 10, and 10, are they really not for those items? Are they for cable access somehow?
David's here. You want to comment on the capital equipment, cable TV contribution programs?
Yeah, those are for cable TV, yeah.
But are we really spending $10,000 on meetings?
There's the actual physical filming of it, and then there's the prop to set it up.
So it's just how it's allocated?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alder Meyer?
I mean, how long do we really plan on streaming this to cable? I mean, or putting it on TV on cable? In the future is all streaming. We're seeing it everywhere. I guess I'd kind of like to know how long do we really see ourselves investing in TV? It might be the year where we get out of it, in my opinion.
I would agree with that, and there's an opportunity to use these in different ways, and streaming is the way to do it. David's got a good kind of idea and planning on that, and that could be an opportunity for future discussion specifically on that.
How hard would it be to get an estimate on what the expenditures versus the revenue intake would be on that?
Something that we can work on and try and have for next Tuesday.
Okay.
I think that the challenge is that obviously in all communities there's a demographic that are still subscribing to cable TV. That's probably also a demographic that probably consumes the most content that we provide. And it's a question of, as I've talked to David about this, the idea of cable TV in 5 years is probably not reality, right? And so it's at some point in the next 5 years, the council's going to have to decide, is this the year? When is that right time to move? And a lot of communities have abandoned their cable channels. I'm going to guess that the conversation that I had in my presentation is not anything unique to Columbus. Every community is having very similar discussions in the next month as I talk to my colleagues. The state did some things to help a couple of years ago, but now everybody's kind of feeling the pinch of this budget, and you've got to look at all options.
The subscribers out there in cable across the country are at the same level they were in the 1980s. So, yeah, it's going down fast.
I would like to see a proposal of keeping cable till June and a streaming only for all city events from June on.
Alder Lawson?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, I mean, obviously that sounds like a recommendation, but is there a estimated time frame for what that transition takes? Is it a 2-month thing? Is it an 8-month thing? I mean, what?
I think those are all things that we can work with David on and bring something back next Tuesday for further discussion.
Okay.
Alder Reed?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, cable-wise, I'm just wondering, is it more the possibility of us dropping them or the cable no longer offering its service? And how would just streaming affect money that the city has given?
Those are all good questions that I want to give David the opportunity to kind of chime in on. I know Mike and I have both had discussions about this with him because I kind of find it interesting myself of how you go from something that was, as a kid growing up, I was jealous of the friends that had cable because I didn't grow up with cable, and now to think of taking Netflix away from my children and what kind of fight I'd have on my hands. The world's changed a lot here in 20 years, and so bringing that information back and having a discussion about this next week give us time to make sure we've got the answers for you.
Wasn't even looking for as soon as next week, just.
Yeah. I think the next one is tourism, Mike, on page 32.
Tourism is a fund. All the funds come from the room tax payments from the hotel in town as well as Airbnbs, or at least they're supposed to. So that's the kind of generation funds that you see there. We have some carryover. The bulk of these have gone to marketing grants for special events. So we've had those go out for a number of different events and have had a new process that has worked well this year. And so there's always some carryover from year to year, just because of the way projects come in. But we kind of anticipate similar revenue from past years, but really it's one of those things that's difficult to predict on the revenue side. And so on the expenditure side, we adjust things as we go when it comes to what funds we actually have and the projects that go out.
Alder Rostad?
I think you might have answered it, but line 313, so you're projected to go over, but you've only spent, let's just say 3,500 already. But then in 26, we're gonna cut it by 40%, but you're projected to go over. Or is that where you're adjusting on the fly and it just hasn't caught up?
Any thoughts on projections, David?
Which line item is that, 303?
313.
Tourism, marketing, and advertising.
Yeah, that one's usually adjusted every year.
But you're projected to go over for this year, and then we're gonna cut it next year,
By 40%.
which doesn't make
Is
sense.
it maybe not a accurate typo or something on the projection?
Probably.
We'll dive into that projection number and have a better answer on next Tuesday.
And then 345 special events, you've spent 0, but you're projected 1,600. Is there something coming up that we're gonna advertise for? Is that the holiday train and stuff?
For the special events, those are the grants that go out to groups to put on events. And that pays out in January so that'll pay out in January of the next year. But yeah, all the money's actually allocated so far, pending final reports.
But I'm still trying to figure out, so 24 was 2,800. 25, we go to 10,000, but nothing is spent. And we're,
If I can interject. So the groups that apply for aid or grant or whatever, they apply for it, but we wait for the final reports. The money is allocated for these groups, but we wait for their final reports before that money is finally paid out to them.
and 10,000 is our limit.
So, yeah,
Okay.
and so that 10,000 will be gone.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
Alder Meyer?
No-
Oh,
Sorry, just to follow up, so nothing from the previous year ended up getting paid early this year?
That's my question. We have nothing allocated for 2025. Our projection is $1,600 and we're going to budget 10,000, which is, I mean, we're 84% under what the budgeted amount is. Do we really expect to spend $10,000 on it? Because the highest we've been is 2,800 ever.
So that money in the past was, this year for 2025 was increased to 10,000 for that budget. That money will be paid out. It's waiting on those final reports at the end of, towards the end of 2025. And so that it is allocated to go to these groups that have applied, but we're waiting on the final reports.
I know what you're saying,
Yeah.
but we were waiting on the final reports last year and nothing has been paid out year to date.
Actually, this is also the year that we changed the process. In years past, up until this year, they came in and did the reports immediately after their event was over, and we just disseminated the funds on a rolling basis
Okay,
throughout the year.
that makes more sense. Now,
I also believe that this projection should be changed to 10,000, because it sounds like, if I'm hearing this right, in January of '26, they're going to pay the funds and charge, in a special revenue fund, you can expend $25 in January of '26. If that's what I'm understanding here. The 10,000 for 2025 is going to be awarded in January of '26. But it's going to be charged to the '25 budget.
so the projected should be 10,000.
should be 10,000.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then the last.
Oh, 1 second, Alder Lawson?
Oh, sorry.
So if the projected then goes up to 10,000, does that mean we have fewer carryover funds to pull forward?
Possibly. It's something that I hate to be a broken record.
We'll take, yeah.
I think one of the challenges, and I'm just going to say this in general across the board, is we've had a couple of things happen, right? We've had a treasurer who had her way of doing things that retired. Trying to midstream introduce a new software. And so some of the projection numbers, there may be some formulas off and some calculations that just don't match up that we need to get cleaned up. And it's going to be one of these transition years where some budgets, the projection numbers are better than others. And it's not a great answer, but it's the best answer I have at this point. Last one, Mike's the revolving loan fund, and I know there's not a lot of activity here, but
Not a lot of activity in there. I can't remember I don't think we haven't issued a loan to anyone. We did have a loan paid off in 2025. But yeah, it's a low amount of funds in here, and not a lot you can do with that level of funding at this time.
any further questions for Mike? Up next is going to be Dennis, the police chief, pages 9 through 11.
This might be easier. There we go. All right. All right, good evening. I am going to, mine will be probably pretty brief, unless there's a lot of questions, which are okay. Just going to talk about some of the changes in my budget and some of the things I've requested to buy or do for the year of 2026. There's not really a whole lot, nothing really new. There's nothing really earth-shattering. A lot of what I'm doing in this budget is, I know in the last year or two, we've started as a city to try to replace equipment incrementally as it's wearing out, so there's not like one huge cost one year for a certain item, and then 2 years later, 3 years later, you need to spend more. We're trying to stagger replacements so the budget lines are a little more straighter, and that's pretty much what I've done through this. So as far as capital equipment, we have the squad, which is in that's already been ordered. We have included with the squad price will be the estimate to outfit it. And we are going to, instead of flipping a squad, what we're going to do is we are going to upfit this one with everything new. And the difference from a flip to a new squad, the equipment gap, roughly $10,000 to $11,000, we're going to cover with LISO monies. So that'll give us another squad in the fleet to throw in the mix and give us a little more lifetime out of the one squad that is at or near retirement. We can run that a little bit to the end. Also, I have put in to replace half of our tasers. We have purchased 5 tasers earlier this year. They came, and I want to buy the other 5. Another example of kind of splitting something up over 2 years. Tasers are expensive. Software licenses with each taser, you essentially have to have a license to have a license. Software licensing is a big chunk of our budget. So I'd like to replace 5 of the tasers. The 5 that we'd be replacing are no longer supported. Their technology, like anything else, after a couple of years, they come out with a newer model. What we would be upgrading to isn't even the most current model. The newest model, because they just came out with what's called the Taser 10, we would be replacing our tasers with Taser 7s, which are still relatively new and still what a lot of departments are going to. There's a huge price difference. In a smaller department, I'm a believer in having all the same equipment when you can, instead of giving this group of officers Taser 10s, which operate differently than Taser 7s. And just that, I want to remove that liability per se of having different equipment whenever possible. But again, the Taser 10s are very, very expensive, and I'm very happy replacing with the 7s. What we're currently running are the Tasers 26Ps and 26, which are the model numbers. And they are no longer supported, so if one went to pod or needed to be fixed, it wouldn't be possible. And then we also have software that downloads the tasers. We can see when they were fired, the date, the time, how long, how many times, all those types of things through a software program. And the 26Ps doesn't work very friendly with the Taser 7 and Taser 10 software in the computer. So it'll just make it a lot easier to have all of the same. Also throughout the budget, I'd want to replace 3 squad computers. We have 5 total. Last year we replaced 2. Another example of a piece of equipment that's nearing the end of the life. And when we initially bought these 5 actually, we staggered them out previously over 2 years, just as we did, just as we're trying to do in that 2026. Also replace a defibrillator or 2, I believe. We have some that are very old, unsupported. We actually have one that the battery went out on that it's unsupported. We called for a replacement battery and it was $500. You can buy a new defibrillator for about $1,200–1,300, a decent one. So do we want to buy a replacement battery for technology that's not supported and is old? So that's kind of where we would be replacing that. Also a radar unit we'd be replacing as well. Just some other notes about things in the budget. I know that the software and licensing budget is pretty large. Approximately $18,000 to $20,000 of that is what we pay Reimer every year for our computer support. So that's why that number is so big. And then we also have several other software licensings through the county. We have to pay some licensing and some antivirus stuff for the squad computers because we're on the county network. We own the computers, but they own the access system. We have software licenses on the software program we use on our phones to dictate reports. That's $100 a phone per person per year. There's just a lot of those software licenses that really catch us, and they really add up pretty fast. We budget a fair amount of money in professional fees. That's kind of an unknown. That's typically where we take hiring processes out of. And in any given year, we don't know how many hiring processes we're going to run. That's also, we take a lot of like memberships and other professional services that we use out of that line item. Unfortunately, on occasion, it includes C.O.W. And it goes fast when you're dealing with an issue. I've had a really good run. Haven't spent a lot of money with Kyle in the last couple of years. That's a good thing. But we kind of, it's a prediction. And that's why that number is so big. A hiring process, we have 2 vacancies. A hiring process alone with just the psych, the med, and the physical can be several $1,000s. And then you got to uniform them as well, which I have covered in a different line item. Those are pretty much the highlights of what I have here with what we're trying to do this year. There are some increases in other line items. A lot of it are just a fact of prices are going up. We all know that. So there's no whiz-bang, fancy, the greatest of everything in here is something new that I'm trying to start. This is basically rotating out some of our end-of-life equipment and maintaining pretty much what we have. Also in the technology or the software, we're also going to replace, I believe, 1 or possibly 2 older cradle points, which are the wireless high-speed routers that we have in the trunk of the cars that power the wireless connection to dispatch and to the internet. So Personnel, obviously, I don't have any changes for that. I'd like to fill the schedule and hire people. Hopefully that can come to fruition, but other than that, that's kind of a summary of the new stuff that I want to do and fund in 2026.
Alder Meyer.
Do you have like that taser stuff underneath the software licensing? The taser replacements?
That's in the CIP.
Okay, so that and the squad computers are in the
Correct.
CIP?
Yep.
Okay.
In the TASER software, when you buy them, you have to buy the software with it.
So the software's not in the CIP, but the tasers are in the CIP?
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense why it's a 50% jump, which is totally understandable. I just wanted to understand it. Thank you.
Alder Rostad.
In this CIP?
Yeah, well,
Because I don't see it.
Ellers will be here next week, or I'm sorry, on the 21st, going through our borrowing and everything that is in the final borrowing. I've been working, the small equipment page is not, or the small equipment items are not in the CIP. But there are 5 tasers, 2 or 3 squad computers,
Three.
3 squad computers, and then there's one other
Oh,
item.
2 squad video cameras.
2 squad video cameras, yep.
So is the AED listed in the CIP that he mentioned?
the what?
The AED.
No.
So that'd be in your general budget.
Yeah, they're a smaller cost. I mean,
Yeah.
they're like $1,200 or
And
$1,300.
you said 3 computers and how many squad cams?
2. And again, with the squad cameras, we're replacing the very old that almost doesn't communicate with our current software. When the squad videos are uploaded wirelessly to the city server at the end of an officer shift, they log in, they press a button, it's uploaded wirelessly. That software version that's on the server is new and it's the current version, and we're running 5 and 6-year-old squad video units in 2 of the cars that they don't play well together a lot, so that'll be a welcome replacement. And they were at the end of life last year, but we decided to run another year or 2 of them.
And then, so in your budget, and in your little spiel, you mentioned hiring process. So at 940, we have $0 for your hiring process.
That's always been covered in our professional fees.
Okay.
We've never had money in a hiring process for as long as I can remember here. I just think it's one of those line items that's on the books, and they just never deleted it.
Okay, and then under technology, you've only spent, according to this, on 10-2, $758, but you're projected to spend $33.5. Is that to finish outfitting a squad, upfitting?
No. So if I could, again, try and explain the projected column. All of the department heads have entered everything in our computer software, the new software, okay? We have not been trained on how to download the new software into Excel.
Oh.
Or the other problem is the entire budget that Crystal put together was in Excel. So all the formulas, everything that was done, I wasn't in a position to abandon Excel. Unfortunately, fortunately, whichever way you want to look at it, I have focused on the 26 budget numbers and making sure they're correct with what staff has entered. But I need to go back and fine tune the projected numbers that they've entered into our Cassell software into this Excel sheet. And again, you're dealing with a rookie on this budget. It's 46 pages of numbers, and it's all I've done for the past 3 weeks. And I didn't get the projecteds correct. It's clear.
That's fair.
And potentially, I don't know if it hasn't hit the system yet, within the last month, we got 2 of the laptops that we're replacing this year, ordered them a couple of months ago, and also I believe 1, if not 2, video cameras that were budgeted. So there'll be a huge chunk that I know of right now coming out of that. Should be out of that. You don't get any component of that for $758.
Right, right. And then your soft body armor, I see you didn't spend anything in '24, nothing today, as of today, but you still have it in there. Is it just as a cushion?
Well, the body armor replacement is on a 5-year cycle.
Okay.
The life
Okay.
of body armor is 5 years. In a perfect world, we would budget for 2 every year. But with our turnover and turnaround, and I have a glimmer of hope potentially that we'll be able to hire somebody yet this year, and get one of those taken, and I also believe that one of the officers is due early in '26, hit the 5-year cycle, and we may just do it this year with monies. And also to remember that body armor is custom fit and custom measured.
Correct.
So if we lose somebody, it's not a piece of item, and actually the contract restricts that a little bit. It's not something they turn in and we just, oh, you're the new officer, here's your body armor. It doesn't work that way, so, that's one of the reasons. It's another one, we don't know what our staffing situation is to do in any given year, and I would rather have that little bit of a cushion out there, and not use it instead of coming to Matt and say, hey, I need $1,100 for this or that. So I try to look forward. But again, I'm hoping to fill one position this year, yet this year, and possibly another one this year or the first of next year. So either way, we're going to end up buying 2. It's just a matter of where they fall on the hump.
Alder Meyer?
The 80, do we only have one of that model that's not supported left in your department?
2.
So why don't we
Like
just
that 500s.
replace them both?
One is a spare.
One's a spare?
So, yep.
Okay, then I'm okay with it.
Alder Lawson?
So the field services technology line item, which is 852, went from last
9.
year budgeted at 34,000 and change down to 15. So does that drop because of some of the items that are included now in the
Boy,
capital improvement?
I think I lied. Where are you?
Page 10.
Oh, you're on page 10, okay.
Yeah, well, last year we did a buy. Last year we bought half of the tasers, and then they don't come for like 5 or 6 months. So I believe that's where half of the tasers came out of last year.
Okay.
That would make about the right dollar and cents per se, and that's an educated guess, but I think it's pretty accurate.
Any other questions?
All right, thank you.
Next is Scott Hazelton, Fire Chief, page 11.
Come in here. Sure. Yeah, other side, turn the mic off.
Hello. I think I'll start right down. The city kind of generates what kind of numbers we do for wages and all that. I can work my way down to use this for a guide. The LOSA, which is our service award program that we're in, it's kind of hard to that always sits about there or under, depending how many people we're have on this in the system. So we're leaving that the same.
Why is that highlighted in orange?
Numbers that I was still waiting for explanation on are
Okay.
in orange. Or that we're waiting, a lot of them we're waiting for the state still on that number. There's a bunch in the fire revenues related to the rural service that we needed our last payroll to go through for those numbers to update.
Yeah, we don't get that till in a month or so, and month or better, and then we pay it towards the end of the year or first of the year. Didn't change the heat, left that the same. We got 2 new furnaces now, so maybe be a little more efficient. Fire telephone, I brought that down $500. Membership dues, that's like we got for, we get into NFPA, fire chiefs membership, firefighters membership, fire inspectors membership, that kind of stuff. Brought that down 500. Professional services, left that the same. That's for like physicals for new members or urine tests. If they hit something, that they could take them in for a urine test. Leaving maintenance and service the same. We're down this year, but you see the year before we were over that. It all depends what goes wrong. We're keeping everything with certified technicians now doing annual testings on them, so we're hoping that keeps that number down. But trucks are getting older, so just in case of emergency. Equipment safety inspections, that leaving that the same. That's all the ladders on the trucks get annually tested. All extinguishers on the trucks and in the buildings get annually tested. Our SCBA's, our air packs, and the masks all get tested annually, and then our Jaws of Life also have annual testing done with it, and that's all covered in that. Office supplies, I bumped that up a little bit because I think we're going to go up in that. We had a black printer in the chief's office, changed that to a all-in-one printer with color, and ink isn't getting any cheaper. Training and seminar fees, brought that down a little bit. I didn't have as many people going to trainings in the last year, so brought that down a little bit. Mileage, meals, and lodging, self-explanatory, leaving that at the same. That's mileage for people going to class if they can't take the fire truck. Meals and staying at, like for conferences. Software support, that's IT. Vehicle fuel, left that at the same, depending on, don't dare bring it down too much because depending on how many calls, we're on the same pace we were last year, which is a record year. Building repair and maintenance, that's what we spent this year is up, but that we had, we got 2 new furnaces because the one broke down. And then we got our washing machine extractor that washes our firefighter gear that went on the fritz, so we replaced that. And then we also had a plugged drain in the upstairs that we had to have Helm come in and unplug. So that it will show the difference between what was budgeted and how much we're over. And then I bumped that up because we have, right now, I just let Matt know last week that one of our garage door springs broke again, so they temporarily fixed it. Have 2 more ordered because the one next to it is old as well. So we're waiting on that. So I put a little bit in there to get the springs replaced and the last opener done on the door. So equipment replacement. Left that the same. See, we spent a lot more this year, but of course that's the new command truck and with the truck and then the everything that went installed on it. See the difference. And then 2% we use for that is we use that part to use for our helmets, boots, gloves, firefighter coats, and pants. The gloves are $100 a pair. Hoods are $100 a pair. Helmets are anywhere from $350 to $400. Boots are the same, and then a coat and a pant is like $3,000. So that helps replenish that fund. And then we also use that for like fire inspector conventions, classes for the inspectors. Other than that, I know there was a question on the capital for the Jaws of Life equipment. I think, Ryan, you asked that. So I got the okay from the Service Corp is going to pay in and talking with the rural group, and they're good with it, and they're probably going to vote that to do that as well, so it's gonna split 3 ways. So that one, it's a set, the old electric set.
We're gonna buy it, we'll just be reimbursed, that's why it's in the
Yeah,
full capital for
yeah,
45.
so they're both say they'll just pay into the city,
Yep.
yeah.
Alder Rosted?
So you cut your training by 9%, and then your mileage and meals and lodging, which kind of articulates your training. If we don't have people going to training, we should probably cut our mileage, meals, and lodging to match.
Probably could cut that down a little bit.
I mean, and are we paying a bunch in mileage?
Not really. As much as you can do it between the command truck and the utility truck, or usually have them take the truck to classes. But there are some where
I mean, I don't know how
they're
much
taken
you can
already,
cut
and then they
it.
have to get mileage, but it's not as much as it was.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to take, I really hate cutting training at any level.
That's why I left it there, because I want to leave that, because people are talking about going to more trainings next year.
No, but you cut it. You cut it, you cut the training budget. That's-
Yeah,
So, just a suggestion, not, I ain't voting yes or no because of it, so it's not gonna make or break me.
gotcha.
Any other questions?
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Next up is, I'll quickly kind of go over our emergency management budget. It's on page 12, and this is a really bare bones budget. Bill Brunig is our emergency management director. It takes less than what you'd pay someone as a stipend for the work. And I think the only increase here is added $200 in other expenses, just to reflective of what we're anticipating in this year in that line. So, any questions on this one?
Alder Rosted?
So I had conversation with Bill at National Night Out, and I forgot exactly what he said, but have we asked if what we're allowing for a salary and his hours, is it hours a week or hours a month? What's he allowed? I forget what he told me.
Off the top of my head, I'm not 100% sure of whether it's weekly or monthly. Basically, he submits hours and then is compensated for the hours he submits for the work. He attends council meetings on occasion. He comes to our management staff meetings. He has been really good about attending trainings in the emergency management to make sure that we're staying on top of that. He participated in the emergency preparedness training programs that we participate in with police, fire, with the county, and other local agencies.
So Scott held up for a week or for a month? Have we asked him if that's enough, or do we need more? Because he's new to it, right?
Right.
New to the position.
Yep.
Very active, from what I
Yep.
understand.
Absolutely.
So I guess I would, and this is another one we probably shouldn't cut short in the event something happens. So I guess if it's before next Tuesday, if we can just touch base and see if he's kosher with what he's got, or if he would like to see a couple more hours added.
All right. And then next is Dwayne Millard, Public Works Director. We'll start on page 12. Dwayne's another one with quite a number of different areas of responsibility in the document.
Evening, everyone. First time going through this, so everyone be nice. Come on, Marcus. I'll tell Matt it's on you.
Starts on page 12 with UD Dam. This is a very, again, a very small area, and we have an allocation format that I believe there's 1% of wages assigned to UD Dam, so then you get the corresponding benefits. And then there's a repair maintenance line that we adjust based on when inspections are due with the DNR and what level of inspections required, because that changes every other year what the amount is.
Yeah, I've just got some minor repairs to do to the dam, based off the inspection that was done, but they're just minor repairs. Add a little riprap here and stuff like that. There's a drainage issue that I told them I would take care of, so.
Next is on the next page with garage.
Garage is the main item for our expenses, fuel, supplies, and equipment replacement. Leasing and renting equipment, like right now we're renting a grinder for the stumps and stuff. We just went down a little bit on the price. This year's budget was 167. We're down to 164.
On the same page, you've got Public Works Admin.
Admin, the price just, the cost just went up very slightly on that. These are well, mileage and meals and lodging. We just had a guy go through some CDL training that'll come out of this budget. And that'll be the same for next year if we have any training that has to be done. Not much in that one for what I usually do.
Page 14 would be streets and snow and ice. And clarification, the last time we talked about budget, we talked about more unified public works and not having this separated out so many areas. And then we learned that some of our aid and grant funding is needing the breakdown, so we've left the breakdown as it is, and we'll likely continue to leave it that way for those reasons.
Biggest price increase in the streets is naturally for the maintenance of the streets. I had crack sealing and slurry sealing, and crack was at 29,000 and slurry was at 59,000. We had concrete maintenance and repairs that had to be done. If you look out the back of this building, there was a trip hazard and 2 ladies already tripped on it, so we had to get that fixed, along with some other items that were around the town that definitely needed to get fixed, so that added to our cost, and I blew my budget on that one because I went over it. But there has to be things that has to get done for safety reasons, and we had to do it. So that's why I put an increase in for that.
Snow and ice looks pretty status quo.
Yep.
Same with building and grounds.
Yep.
And then from there, we're gonna jump to page 17 for parks and athletic fields.
No drastic change in that either. The one thing that is going up, and I'm sure you people already know about it, is the deer died, and we got 6 little goats in there feeding on the grass, hopefully, and take care of that area. So that was one of the expenses that I was happy to add some dollars to take care of those little buggers.
Dwayne got a deal on buying 6 goats too.
I got a hell of a deal on getting 6 goats. So, They haven't really started munching on the grass yet, but hopefully they do. And if they don't, I think I'm gonna have to get some bigger ones than the ones I got. They're just small. I don't know if you've seen them yet, but they are small, they're cute, and they're just starting to acclimate themselves to the fenced area. They're finally coming out of the shelter a little bit, and yeah, they're fun. And then our guys built some ramps and on some cable reels, and we brought some big rocks in for them to climb on, because they like climbing on things to get up high so they can see predators coming. That's kind of their nature, so. If you haven't seen them, get down and see them. They're cute.
The next page would be forestry and weed control.
1 second. Alder Lawson, there's questions, so I don't want to go too far.
So on the deer line went up. Is it by a lot, like almost triple? Is it more expensive to take care of the goats than it was the deer?
There's hoof maintenance, there's vaccinations that have to be done, plus their feed that they have, so there's 6 of them instead of 1, yes.
Okay.
It's it's an added expense, yep.
Alder Rostad?
So it's about the goats, because I've already been called about it. So we fielded a complaint and DPW mowed it. I'm curious, and complainant is curious, what the cost it would DPW to mow it would be versus our $44,000 budget if they had to mow it instead of the goats.
Instead of the goats?
Correct. We mowed it once, so we can do it. How much did it cost the city in time and equipment to mow that patch off?
It takes like a half a day, less than a half a day, to get in there with a.
And what's the
with a
dollar
brush hog
amount?
and whack it down.
And what's the dollar amount to that?
What's that?
What's the dollar amount to that?
Well, I don't have it with me.
Probably more important than the dollar amount, it's the staff time. And my understanding is our mowing crew starts on Monday, completes their mowing route, and starts again the next Monday. And so it's, if other staff are having to mow that area, it's taking them away from getting other things done in the city.
Sleeping?
Oh, Alder Meyer.
So I get what you're saying, but at the same point in time, we don't even know if these goats are going to take care of the grass.
Correct.
So we're adding in a definite expenditure, potentially doubling both ways. Do we know what the estimated veterinary care that we're responsible for these is going to be next year? Other than just vaccines and hoof care? Like,
That was in all the information presented to the council, Marcus. I don't know if you were on council at the time that the decision was made, but I know that there was a projected veterinarian care expense when we brought this to council.
I definitely haven't seen this before, so I haven't seen this in here. So.
And again, just for a refresher on this, we came with knowing that the deer were on the last legs, right?
Absolutely.
And the DNR will require us to maintain that area as a deer pen for 10 years after the last deer passed. And so I believe that was either late August or early September of this year. So for the next 10 years, we can't do anything with that area, essentially just have to maintain it as is for a 10-year period of time. So the decision was made was to introduce goats. The belief was that they would maintain the area. I understand that
They better be hungry.
They are going to need to be hungry, correct. But that was, the decision made at that time was to, because we had to maintain that area, the thought was goats would be a good solution to address that.
Okay.
Alder Rostad?
But we also were told as council, DPW could not mow it. And that was proven that we did mow it in July before the 4th. So we were under the assumption, when the goat process came, DPW couldn't mow it because there's boulders and stuff in there and didn't have the equipment. We have the equipment. We did mow it. We can continue to mow it, but we weren't given the full correct information at council.
Mayor?
I might counter that the people that were present at the time may have gotten their information explained to them. Whether it was accurate information that was given to them or not is another thing. The one thing that also, it was, pretty, it was out there amongst community members that, they wanted to see either the deer continue, and then when the goat subject came up, there was a huge support of having goats out there, something for people to go out and to see. So again, I think we were given information, probably the best information that was given at the time. Whether it was right or wrong, I believe it was probably the right information that was given to that person at the time and just relayed to us that way.
Alder Reed?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and I don't know that council was told that DPW couldn't mow, but that it was going to be a little bit cost prohibitive and taking of time. And yeah, half the reason for the goats was as a sort of public amenity to continue having some sort of animals for enjoyment in the space.
Next, and again, I'm going to assist in these areas. The garbage recycling fund, that's on page 28. Oh, I'm sorry. Forestry and weed control, Dwayne?
That's page 18,
Yep.
if anybody needs that.
Yeah, forestry, the biggest increase there is the tree trimming cost. This past year, we had a slew of very large trees go down, 3 of them right in the cemetery, and we had a bunch in town when a large storm went through, and we spend a lot of money with KMB to take them down. There's the trees that we have them take down are too large for our crews to do with the equipment that we have, the bucket truck that we have. And also, there's also some added expense from utilities. If the trees and the utility lines are going through the trees, we have to have utilities take care of the limbs that are in the way, and then we can get K&B or our crews to come in and take the tree down. But that big cost is from Columbus's Tree City, and we're paying the price for having all these large trees that are getting old, and they are starting to die, and we got to take care of them. It's a large expense.
As mentioned, the next one is the garbage recycling fund on page 28. This is updated to reflect what we'll be talking about later is the garbage collection fee. But we're projected with the updated numbers, revenue of $414,938, expenses $398,752, revenue over expenditures $16,185, and that money is used to pay. There's a payment plan put in place with purchasing the garbage totes from Columbia County. So, again, these are the price is predetermined in the contract. Each year, there's a planned increase as part of the 5-year contract.
Alder Meyer?
What year are we on with the contract?
This would be, we are entering year 3.
Okay. Is there any opt-out conditions, things of that nature that we can discuss at a different time? And I think it's the worst.
There are not, based on
Service
the
public.
attorney's review of the contract.
Okay, well, I'm gonna continue to be vocal about how awful that service is to the city, so.
And the last one, cemetery, page 29, as well as page 45. But I met with the cemetery board last night. Again, for the most part, this is a situation where when their revenues don't meet expenditures, that remaining amount becomes a tax subsidy and a direct levy to the taxpayers. The number one expense at the cemetery is the mowing contract. I'm going to be working with Dwayne and looking at options, including autonomous mowers or an autonomous mower. We want to do a demo, and the belief, if the demo works out well, the cemetery association's willing to entertain this idea and potentially help the city buy an autonomous mower that could reduce some of our mowing expense in other areas, as well as potentially be a really cost advantageous opportunity for the cemetery. But again, we've got to have a demo and make sure that it does the kind of job that we would need it to do there. But the contract this year for cemetery mowing was $74,100. That's 26 mowings and 13 string trimmings. It's a challenging environment because when the economy is good, government contracting tends to suffer. It's a lot easier to do private sector contract and not deal with government. And so we are also going to work with the Cemetery Association to try and solicit additional interested parties in being able to submit proposals on that agreement in the future. I'm encouraging the Cemetery Association to look at their revenue generation and make sure that they're covering their costs with the services that they're providing. There are some adjustments that they've asked for based on the budget that's in front of you that'll be reflected in next Tuesday's presentation as well.
Aldermeyer?
I just want to make sure I understand this. I see that it zeroes out from the revenues to the expenditures, but do we pay everything, all the lawn care? What is the contribution percentage from the city versus the cemetery committee?
Well, the total budget's the total budget in front of you is 116,050, and the city's providing 87,000 of that. So it's 85%, just to guess off the top of the number, that's contributed by tax dollars.
Okay, so with that, how many other communities are involved in this?
None.
None? Okay.
Just us. There's other work going on here jointly between the city and the Cemetery Association and looking at, we've done a title search on ownership because there's questions over even
That's where I was going next.
who owns the property, and we don't have definitive answer on that. It's actually titled at the county in the GIS. If you go on and look, it's one of the parcels is Hillside Cemetery Association, one is Catholic Church, and one is St. Jerome. So there's 3 different parcels, and they all 3 show different ownership at the county. The title search to this point is showing other ownership information that we're still trying to decipher why there's some difference between what's being found in the title search work and what's on file at the county. So there's more to come here. At the end of the day, we want to work with the Cemetery Association on, they take great pride in maintaining this area. They do great work. There's a lot of volunteer hours put in. They work with the Burke Center, who comes out, I think, up to 4 times during the summer to do monument repair work. There's good things happening here, but I agree that it's something that we've got to keep an eye on in how much resource we can provide to the cemetery.
Exactly what I was getting at. Thank you.
And then page 45 is the cemetery's. It's a Hillside Cemetery Association fund. There is no budget. It's one of these reoccurring tracking that we have to have in our financial documents. And there's a couple instances of things like this. When Amanda talks to you at the library, there's a very similar association with the Friends of the Library with a fund that we maintain for them as well. Any questions on any of that? All right, next up is Amy Jo with Recreation. We're going to start with the Community Center on page 15.
Hello. Hi. Okay, so at the community center, last time I was here, council had suggested that I return with some ideas for strengthening the community center. So Kane, myself, and Kim kind of met to collaborate on ways to enhance the programming and revenue. So we started off with a smaller increase of $6,500 on the budget this year. We're hopeful it can be more, but we wanted to be realistic as well. So there's a couple of changes. I don't know if you have, we kind of went through the line items and we broke them out differently probably than what you're seeing.
And that information is new since Thursday when this is published.
Yes,
So
yes.
that's all going to be reflected in next Tuesday with the community center budgets had some significant change. I think the biggest takeaway that I have is they've really looked at revenue production and have come up with some good revenue generation, as well as we're tweaking some of the expense lines to try and better look at this area.
So there you go. Yeah, basically what we did is rentals of the facility under miscellaneous, we broke that out so we have a better way of tracking the rentals. We feel that we can get more people interested in renting out the facility. Looking at increasing the programming revenue, I think we could do some more fundraising, and the nutrition program meal site, their costs actually went up, so we'll have $400 extra there.
Aldermeyer?
So I'm going to be the mean guy. I think it was expected after my last comments at the last meeting, but I would like to see a proposal without a director salary, eliminating that position, the full-time position, and a proposal with elimination of both part-time staff, and see where we come out at. I mean, we have Kane, we have you. If we eliminate a full-time position and have 2 part-time, I don't see how we can't staff it as is. So I would like to see some type of proposal, Matt, that reflects that on both sides of it.
Okay.
And as far as expenses go, there were a couple of different changes on expenses. Mostly, one of them was very small. Community center will start paying a very small portion of my rec because we'll be using that as a tracking mechanism for programming, for people checking in with memberships and stuff. But otherwise, that's it. Any other questions?
Recreation be on page 16.
Thank you. Recreation, for the most part, most of the changes were increase in revenues because my programs are growing, and a small increases in expenses. It really wasn't a whole lot of changes there.
Aldermeyer?
Do we have expected upcoming expenses next year that's not in the CIP that's on here for the 625% maintenance increase?
Maintenance increase.
Repair and maintenance. This year was $800 on here. It has it at $5,800, or was that supposed to be $800 again?
Well, it was $5,800. There was a quote obtained for painting, but Amy Jo and I have talked, and that's going to be one of the proposed reductions for next Tuesday for consideration.
Okay, well, I just wanted to understand
Yep.
such
Yep.
a large increase.
Yep.
Yep.
There's nothing on this. The aquatic center is on pages 24 and 25.
Okay, with the aquatic center, everything pretty much evens out with increase in revenues, and then again, some increase in expenses. The local tax subsidy went up a little bit too, and that is to reflect on part-time wages to go up on this year's numbers. Obviously, we went up from $90,000 to $92,000. Admissions, revenue increase on that. Excuse me, daily admissions went up 1,000. Family membership stayed the same, and individuals went down 1,000, and that's just because of demographics. Families change. But we were making that money up elsewhere in water aerobics and swim team and swim lessons and things like that. So overall, I think it's a really good budget that Kane put together. We have some expenses for repairs, but I think we can do that, and there's some reflected in the capital improvement projects.
And then page 31 is the special parks fund, and this is where fundraising revenues are shown as well as expenses for fundraised efforts. A lot of these are within the park system. And Amy Jo, I don't know if you have anything more you want to elaborate there.
Exciting news, the pavilion project is going to take place in a couple of weeks. The north and the south end staircase project will be done this year. They're going to start November 10th and be done at the end of November, so that's exciting. Warner Street Enerpac, continue to fundraise on that, working with Enerpac, and pickleball courts.
Alder Rostad?
Looking at your CIP, you have a lot in 26. Whether it's-
Recreation has a lot.
Well,
or
yeah,
parks?
in
Parks.
general, right? Parks.
Yeah.
A lot of, a majority of the work being done in the parks are paving parking lots.
No, yeah, but I just want to make sure we're still on board with everything that's listed, like the HVAC for the pavilion, the insulation, all that stuff. We're still on. None of that's been proposed
Yeah,
to be
I
cut.
should have elaborated on that. So the pavilion, capital improvement, that is for the air conditioning to be done. And I'm working with, I believe his name is Josh, on Thursday. He and I are gonna meet and do a walk through the pavilion. He's gonna drop some plans, the engineering draft for that.
And Josh is with Rupert Milkey and Axiom in terms of making sure that we've got a plan that we can put out and get competitive bids on, and go through the bid process to select a vendor to do that work.
So there's a cost, but it's going to benefit us.
Well, we have to have we don't have in-house capabilities to draft an HVAC plan. And so we want to make sure that we have a professional plan that we can put out to bid and get competitive pricing so that we can follow state law and award a contract to a qualified vendor.
And then, is there going to be 2 basketball courts? Because we got one in 26, and then we have a pickleball / basketball. Or let's just.
So the plan is flipped a little bit. We were planning to do the pickleball courts next year because of the work that we're doing with the country club in just some timeline things. We've actually moved the basketball court to next year and are doing pickleball. The plan would be is in 27. We feel that's a better plan. Basketball court would be located in front of the pool building and the green space in front of the pool.
Perfect. You have HVAC for the community center too, correct?
Yeah, yes, HVAC and doors at the community center.
Yeah, well, I think Marcus requested maybe the door quote. Have we done any research on that from the last time? At 52,000?
I will have to look into when we've last had quotes.
Okay.
I think the direction of the last time that I'm working off of is that we don't want to delay investment in buildings and want to keep pushing forward with plans for making sure the buildings are staying, up to date and maintained. If there's no further questions on recreation areas, we'll move to the library and Amanda.
All right.
Page 22.
Okay. So the library budget, as Matt kind of talked about a little bit before, is our revenues and our expenditures have to balance for our budget to work. If you look at our expenditures, you're going to see in the percentages some wonky stuff because there's going to be some hundreds and some minus hundreds. That's it. I'm trying to just simplify the budget. Nothing was cut 100% or added to 100%. Just to some of the lines can just be combined. In this program, I'm not able to do that, but I am able to add these little notes telling what I'm doing, but those don't print for you. So they're in the budget. They're just not there for you. So overall, our entire budget went up about 18,000 from 2025 to 2026. Of that, about 14,500 was doing a 3% raise for our staff. The library board always strives to do the same as the city when it comes to any type of raises. So that's why we factored in a 3% this year. And that was for 12 staff, 2 full-time, 10 part-time. Other than that, there's just a little bit, we added a little bit to our programs. We're averaging between 30 and 40 programs a month. So we have a lot of people coming in. When it comes to our revenues, I passed about $5,727 on to the city. Traditionally, we've asked for about $5,000 more every year as a little step increase. Columbia County this year, we were predicting to have about a $5,000 raise from them. We ended up with a $9,000 raise. They decided to give us a little more than they have in the past, which has been great. So that's the budget.
Alder Rostad?
Has your cemetery, library board approved your budget?
Nope.
Not yet?
Nope.
Okay. Because this one we just adopt, right? Just like utilities, basically?
Well, you have to approve that first number.
Yeah.
The red one?
Yep.
Alder Lawson?
So is the red number red because we were waiting on the county contribution and stuff like that? No.
It's red because Crystal had all of the tax subsidy numbers in the special revenue funds as red.
Oh.
So, not change that format.
So I thought I heard you say that the county contribution went up by 9,000, but that's not what I'm seeing here.
Because the county funds is not all counties, or it is multiple counties. So it's not, the Columbia County one went up 9. Our Dodge County contribution went down slightly.
Gotcha.
And then we get money also from Dane County, and I think there was like $40 from Marquette County in there or something. It's based on checkouts. We get reimbursed for people checking out books that live in a municipality without a library.
Thank you.
So
If you live
it's
outside the
important.
city.
It's important to note. I think how libraries are funded in the state is, there's always people. I know this is one of Amanda's favorite subject matters when they're at the school in Fall River. And well, why is the Columbus Library at Fall River Elementary School? Well, we are paid. Columbus is paid and compensated to be the library that serves those communities that don't have a library. Those communities, through the county payment, they're paying for that service to be provided to them. And as she indicated, when Marquette County is contributing to our library because someone who lives in Marquette County checked out books at our library, there is a compensation format. So when they're doing outreach at Fall River and then people from Fall River come and check out books in Columbus, that adds to your revenue.
Get paid for every single one. Another question? All right. The other thing that was assigned to me, so this is tricky because this has nothing to do with the city. It doesn't go through the city. You don't actually run this account. It's our foundation, which we don't have our own foundation. We invest money through South Central Library System Foundation. And what Crystal would have me do is give her a report at the end of the year of how that investment did. And that's all this is.
What page is that?
46 of the budget document, the last page of the budget document.
Yeah. So, like I said, it doesn't come through the city at all. It's directly to South Central Foundation.
There's not a lot of activity in this either. So it's kind of at the end of 26 we'll get a report on the activity.
That's it. Yep. Not actual budget. Okay.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Is that everything then for the
That's every-
first agenda item?
That's everything unless there's further questions or discussion. I guess we're kind of glossing over the stormwater utility, but if there is not interest in pursuing that, I need to know because we're gonna have to pivot and figure something else out between now and next Tuesday.
Alder Meyer?
I'm 100% in favor of looking to establish a stormwater utility for the basic fact that it gives us more debt range, allows us to be more flexible with our money. But I'm not going to support it without a hard and fast projection of what the charges are going to be, where we're going to go with it, what the average homeowner in the city of Columbus is going to experience in increased cost. I will vote no on anything unless we have that. So.
Alder
So,
Rostad?
can
That
I-
was included, yeah.
Can I ask a follow-up? So with the information that was shared tonight, does that answer those questions for you?
I would like to see the average bill in the city of Columbus from utilities and what the average price would be. The median
So-
bill from the city of Columbus.
So the 1,489 residential single-family homes, it'll be $15 a month, $180 for the year.
Per home, $15.
Per single-family home.
I mean,
It's page
I
18
don't
of the
think how any,
PowerPoint.
yeah, I'm sure I read it. I don't see how anybody can buck that, in my opinion.
3 years was saying $18 a month.
Alder Reed?
I know. Oh, thank you. I'm very much in favor of going full force with the stormwater plan. My question is on our need to find, was it $91,000 to cut for the levy limit budget restraint program?
It's bigger than that. It's 260 total, of which creating the stormwater utility is 59,000. So then we're
Okay.
at 201 roughly in rough numbers. I have a budget that accomplishes that. I've talked with all the department heads. Everyone has been comfortable with the proposed cuts. Obviously, between now and publishing a updated packet Thursday or Friday for all of you, there may be some tweaks and changes, but I've got it so that we meet our levy limit. A lot of the increases that Dwayne talked about, and I think are needed in Public Works, are some of where those cuts have occurred to stay at our traditional funding level. And there's other, a lot of it is coming from Public Works. There are other areas. There's, as I mentioned, there's been some reductions in the community center budget. There's been some tweaks with the pool budget. I think that there's some reductions in fire. There's a couple of small adjustments to the police department. But it's all getting, and the increased revenue plays a part. And I've got what I feel today as a balanced budget to present to you next week that meets the expenditure restraint program. And that I'm confident sets us on a good road forward, that we're not that we're giving ourselves opportunities in future years to still have some wiggle room.
Thank you. My follow-up question is, what sort of punishment would be doled out if we don't meet the restraint program?
We don't get the check from the state,
How
which this
much?
year was $91,000.
Oh, that was a 91,000,
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Alder Lawson?
So, I think I recall you saying that with your revised budget, the total impact to the average taxpayer will be an increase of $41.
$45.41
$45.
on an average assessed home.
So
That's
real,
the city portion only, because we can't control the school district, the county, the tech school.
that's the tax levy portion, right? So
Correct.
the real impact to an average homeowner would be that plus the 180
For the stormwater
stormwater
utility.
fee. Okay, thank you.
All right, stormwater information is on page 17 and 18. Does anybody have any more questions on that or concerns with the stormwater utility
Oh.
for Matt to
I
keep-
apologize.
Not stormwater, but we missed a whole section of the budget.
You missed the whole page of my responsibilities to go over with you.
Oh,
Well, I wasn't letting it go.
Including. Hi, Kendra. Including pages 1 through 4, which is the fun part of the budget, which is revenues. So just kind of going through, the first number in red, the tax levy, the local levy, that's the gap between our revenues and expenses. So that's a number that automatically calculates based on what we do in the rest of the budget document. And so, let me pull up the actual budget. I can tell you what that number will be on Tuesday, and that's $2,636,508.28. The rest of this, just looking at significant changes.
Matt, can you just tell us what page?
Oh, I'm sorry. This is page 1 of the budget.
Thank you.
$2,636,508.28. That's at least if nothing changes between now and when the packet goes out. The next section, so there's the taxes section, which includes, fun things like egg use penalty. I can't even begin to explain what that is. The taxes paid by the trailer park, the tax payment that we receive from the utility in lieu of taxes. There's a payment similar like that set up with the country club lease, and then some interest payment as well. The next section are all contributions that we receive from the state, and with a couple of federal, or it looks like federal grant lines that we don't have funding in. The next section are related to revenues obtained from licenses. So a lot of the licenses the clerk issues, building permit fees, rezoning variances, permit fees through public works. So kind of those license and permit fees. The next section is on page 2, court penalties, fines, and then the public charges for services. So this is where you see a lot of the fire payment, the rural group billing that goes out that gets finalized in October and sent out to the rural groups. So that's why those numbers are in orange, because they're projections at this point, but not the final numbers. Any of the public works fees that are charged. On page 3, you see the community center and recreation and parks related revenues. And on page 4, we have a section with miscellaneous revenue. One of the big ones there is our projected interest on investments. And then the transfer from tourism and cable. Moving on to expenditures, you see the city council and court. So we participate jointly in the, correct me if I'm wrong, Eastern Columbia County Circuit Court. HLPC expenses have been moved into, they have a line item in the planning budget for their expenses. There's contingency, legislative support. This is funds for legal notices, codification process that Susan does with our ordinances and getting them published. And then you have the mayor salary as well. There's a section for administration that includes a portion of my salary and human resources. We went through the clerk and elections. I should jump back and tell you what page we're moving forward on. EMS on page 12. So this is the, this is where we have our contracted ambulance service payment. The city's portion of that with the new contract is increasing from 97,000 to 130,000. Again, we're 44% of that overall arrangement. The next one on page 30 is the special fund full breakdown of the EMS budget, where you'll see each of the contributing payments from the other 10 jurisdictions, as well as the overall expense budget under this item. So it's a total budget of revenues of 292,000, expenses almost reaching that. There's a projected $150.01 profit in this fund that goes into a designated fund balance for this. On page 19 are engineering lines. These are the line items that we pay Rupert Milkie for work done for planning, infrastructure, and GIS. Room tax on page 26. So this is a projection on the total room tax collected, and then the there's a contribution that goes to planning, economic development, and a contribution that goes out to tourism. So those are transfers out to those funds that we talked about earlier. Debt service is on page 34. This shows revenues anticipated for special assessments. These date back to as far as 2016 up through the 2025 Brookside project. We don't anticipate, we could see revenue from the West School Street project in 2026, but it's more likely that those payments would start in 27. And then the expenditures here primarily is our interest payment and principal payment on our debt. The TIF budgets are pages 35 through 38. You'll note that TIF 3 is held open pending a court case that the city really doesn't have involvement in, but we have to keep that open until that is resolved. TIF 4 shows a positive balance at the end of the year. TIF 5 is now generating increment and also shows a positive balance at year end. TIF 6 is also showing that positive increment based on some projects that have occurred within the district in the past couple of years. And so that's a correction on something I stated earlier. TIF 6 is showing a positive balance at this point. Our capital project budget, you see, I've spent a lot of time on this with the projections and trying to identify where we're going to be at year end, and all projects what's important to explain, and this is something that Kendra and I are working on, is that maybe is a change from the past. When we award a contract to do a project like Brookside, there's a total amount. There's also a retainage in that project. And what the retainage means is that's what we hold until their warranty expires at a year from completing the project. So essentially, we should be withholding funds in that account in 26, knowing that we'll have a final payment a year from the date of the project completing. That hasn't always been identified directly in the past, and so that's one of the things that we're trying to improve and make sure that we're accounting for. so that we're not then putting that on the next, like on the School Street project, but we're accounting for it within the project that it was, intended to be spent in. So that's kind of a change that we're working through. We have a mentor for Kendra and myself in trying to answer some of these bigger picture finance questions. He's a retired finance director who most recently worked for the city of Oshkosh, and is kind of a resource for us to bounce questions off of and assist us with some of the things that we're still working our way through. And one of these is these fund balances and how we show them, and he's trying to steer us in a better direction than maybe historically has been displayed, and it's my hope that we're to that point potentially next week. Stormwater on page 42, essentially this will be the greatest change that you see next week, is there will be no numbers in 2026 in this budget, as we create a utility fund for stormwater will be the intent moving forward. So this is where that roughly projected $59,000 in savings comes from by moving stormwater to a utility.
1 second.
Yep.
So, assuming we move forward with funding the stormwater utility, does that need to happen on essentially the same timeline as the budget? So if we were to collect it via the tax bill, it can be included?
I think those are all things that will be determined. What Paul and I will be working on is a sequence of steps that I hope to present to you next Tuesday as part of an agenda item, in terms of these are the steps and these are the things that we're going to need to do. And here's what makes the most sense as we look to implement this. And some of those are things that I have an idea of what the answer is. Some of those are things that we're gonna have to work on in the next few days to map out. The May Ward Fund, which is page 43, you'll remember Crystal essentially asked you guys to kind of wrap that fund up and disperse those funds into other areas. So that's why you see there's no proposed activity in 2026. We will have to show this for the next few years as a no activity, but essentially closing this budget moving forward. And then HLPC, you see the contribution for the water tower maintenance.
Can you, I'm just trying to think ahead,
Yep.
because I have a funny feeling how stormwater utility is going to go after we leave here tonight and then until next Tuesday. So can you prepare the budget both ways? Do the full cut and then minus, if we enact a $59,000 stormwater utility, just so we have another tool to explain and show how this is going to benefit ultimately the taxpayers of the city? Or is it too much work?
No, it's not too much work. My direct response is for that to happen, we're going to have to cut full-time staffing. And I feel like that is something where you can ask me, but I think the council needs to make that decision as to where we're cutting full-time staff from. Because I think it's either that or it's impacting service to our residents. To get within that expenditure restraint number, to cut that full 260 without looking at the stormwater utility, I think that's the reality of the situation. And it's a discussion that I think the council needs to be engaged on, is where that would come from.
And if that had to happen with that discussion, would we put it in the agenda for closed session possibly? Or would it be open? Because that's not really something we want to discuss in public before we know what we're going to do, correct? Do we give ourselves the scapegoat and put it on the agenda so we have it? Or do we not want to?
I'd want to confer with Paul before really answering that question because it's not something that I've experienced previously.
I just want to be prepared.
Yep, yep, yep.
Because we're up against the date, right? 14th, what did you say, 19th?
Well, that's if we want to have our public hearing on November 4th,
Correct.
which I would encourage
Yeah.
that being the right date to target, we have to have an ad ready to go by October 19th.
Thank you.
Correct.
I understand what Alder Osted's saying, but I would ask for the opposite. I would ask that we have these discussions in open session so that the community really understands that we are that close to cutting staff. I've made these recommendations or requests for staff cutting tonight exactly for that reason. I'm sure some people don't like it, but that's where we're at if we don't do this sooner than later. We need to be transparent on why we're doing it, and the only way to do that is an open session.
Speaking of that, is there any other discussion on the stormwater utility? I know. Sorry. Is there any other discussion on the stormwater utility? Any concerns with Matt proceeding with getting information on how to implement it and incorporating it into the budget, minus what Alder Rust had already said? Okay.
So just to explain the 59,000, as a reminder, I think everyone's heard this before, but if not, it's a good reminder. The stormwater impact right now to our general fund is $73,000. We have to take a negative $14,000 adjustment in our levy limit, which is not a significant number, because that's what we spent in 2013 from the general fund on the levy. So to comply with the state law for you all to enact a stormwater utility fee without going to referendum, you have to take a negative levy adjustment for whatever you spent in 2013 when the law was enacted to comply with the ability to do that. So that's why I'm saying there's a net of 59,000 in savings by making that decision. And I'm using round numbers. It's a little more than 14, it's a little more than 73, but it's really close to 59,000. All right. I think we are on sorry, this is Molly,
Is that it for the 2026 city budget?
unless there's any other questions.
All right, final call. All right. Discussion of capital improvement plan.
Again, if there's specific questions, I'm happy to answer. We've talked about this before. Greg Johnson from Ellers will be here on October 21st to go through the borrowing plan for the 26 projects. He'll show all the projections. He's going to talk at length about funding options for public safety building, as well as, the normal, a lot of you have seen him in the past. He'll go through his explanation of where the city stands and with its debt service.
Alder Rusted?
I was going to ask Dwayne, and I forgot. Your plow truck for 311 for the 26 budget and CIP.
Yep.
When do you plan on ordering? You ordering for right away so we get it in 26, or order for delivery in 7?
Well, to answer for Dwayne, I think we want to order as soon as we know there's a commitment to fund.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's where I'm going.
And the delivery, I don't know what Dwayne has been told in regards to delivery on the specific piece he's looking at.
I haven't checked on ordering the truck yet or anything like that. All I've gone out and done is got quotes on the chassis, got quotes on setting up the plow, the box, the salter, all the equipment that goes along with it.
I'm just afraid of an increase.
And I know, I was talking with the vendors out there, Madison Truck, they said figure out a 5% increase for next year's cost, because it's gonna happen, so that's the number that I got.
So can we,
Yeah.
can we adjust that?
Yep.
I'd even err on the side of caution and go 7.
Okay.
Thank you. That's,
Alder Lawson?
Future water plant. I see there's like plan and design or something on here for design and bidding for 2026. Is this water or is it wastewater treatment? Like what?
Yeah, there's a number of steps. I'm not, this is a good question, and I will get further answer on this again. I've included the utilities here. These are, the items that the Utility Commission dives a little bit deeper in, but I can get that. I think a better description on some of these would be really good, but there's a number of steps that have to be taken for us to explore. It's really an 8-year process for a new water tower, water plant, so.
And then the pavilion items. So I know we talked about HVAC. Do we have asbestos and insulation because it's just part of the whole process?
Yep.
Okay.
Alder Rested?
and for utility, just refresh, we just adopt what they want to do, correct? In, per states, yeah.
For the
State statute
operating
reason,
budget,
right?
the borrowing's a little bit different, but
Okay.
yeah. Because essentially the city does the borrowing for the utility.
Anything more on the capital improvement plan? All right. Next topic is discussion of 2026 operating budget.
I mean,
Yeah, is there anything else
if
on
there's
that?
anything further.
All right. Discussion regarding the 2026 trash garbage recycling assessment fees. We touched on this a little bit, but
We touched on it a little bit, but here's the worksheet that kind of shows you, and I'm going to increase the size of this a little bit because it is hard to see. This is on page 74 of your packet for the committee of the whole meeting. We show 1,949 customers. That's what our prior year actual number was, plus a 5 additional customer number that's been historically used as a base number. You see in 2026, the fee is $12.45 for garbage and $3.41 for recycling. A total projected expense of $370, $933, $68. You show the cart payment, the interest, and then the balance that's due with this cart purchase through Columbia County that will have the payment in 26 and 2 final payments in 27 and 28. There's a cost recovery formula here. Shows the total annual customer charge, which is projected in 26 at $410,338.13. And it breaks down to a rounded cost per customer of $211. And that's a 2.93% increase over last year. You see the monthly calculated charges as well. So this was a worksheet that was set up that was pretty much plug and play with the new numbers.
any questions?
It's where the budget for this is formulated from.
Alder Reed? Oh, thank you. Not a question or concern about the fees. Just wondering if there was a consideration of rebidding out, what year would that need to be done?
We would be going out in 28 for new service starting in the 1st of 29.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else? All right. We skipped 5, so let's go down to 6, which is Resolution 9-25, a resolution exempting the municipality from paying Columbia County Library tax in 2026. if you want to just give a brief on it.
So I outlined this in the memo, but this is an annual resolution that we have to do, and it helps because then we don't have to pay the taxes to Columbia County because we have the library. And unfortunately, this year, the library powers that be that put together a spreadsheet with all of the surrounding municipalities that always showed you the breakdowns, decided that they were no longer going to do that. So we don't have that information. There is a formula I can use to try to recreate just our portion of that, but this, it's just a statutory requirement that we need to take care of. And we did have to turn it in by September 30th, so Mayor Hammer and I have already signed and sent this into the county.
All right, any questions on this, or are we good moving it forward? All right. Next, it's convened to close session pursuant to State Statute 19-851C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data for any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, specifically to discuss the collective bargaining agreement proposal between the City of Columbus and the Columbus Police Local WPPA number 237 for the period of January 1st, 2026 to December 31st of 2027. I'll look for a motion to go to closed session.
I will
To go to
move,
closed session.
including Chief Weiner, please.
Are you a second, Alder Meyer? Okay. I have first from Alder Rolke and a second from Alder Meyer. Any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are in closed session, and we will be coming back to open session to adjourn. Do we have to do roll call?
You're supposed to?
Oh, well, let's do roll call then.
Okay.
Sorry. Thank you, Amy.
Yeah, no problem.
I was like, all right. Finkler,
Aye.
Rostad,
Aye.
Lawson,
Aye.
Relke. Aye. Meyer. Aye. Hammer. Aye. Reed. Aye. Ayes have it.
All right, welcome back to open session. I will look for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Second.
Who was first?
I was.
All right, we got first from Alder Rolke and a second from Alder Meyer. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
We are adjourned.
All right, so
Rostad.
does anybody need a break before we move right in?
Nope.
No.
Let's go.
Just do this thing, chicken wing. Rostad.
Right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's Common Council meeting of Tuesday, October 7th of 2025. And welcome to those that are watching via cable. I would look for a roll call, please.
Finkler.
Here.
Hammer.
Here.
Lawson.
Here.
Meyer.
Here.
Reed.
Here.
Relke.
Here.
Rostad.
Here.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I acknowledge this meeting was posted and noticed according to law.
Okay, thank you. Next would be approval of tonight's agenda. I would like to note that item number 5 said 10-24, which it should be 10-25, and then also the removal of item number 7.
Move to approve the agenda with the stated changes.
Second.
Okay, motion by Alder Meyer, second by Alder Finkler. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next would be the committee minutes for file for library of,
Excuse me, Mayor.
public comment.
There
I'm
was
sorry.
there was
No-
none.
No public comment, sorry. Thank you. Committee minutes for file, library of August 19th of 25, PFC of July 23rd of 25, and recreation of August 18th of 2025. Next would be approval of consent agenda. That is the common council meeting minutes and council workshop minutes of September 16th of 2025. Approval of additional retailers requiring a temporary Class B retailer's license for the 2025 Chamber of Commerce Wine Walk.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, motion by Alder Meyer, who had the second, by Alder Finkler to approve consent agenda. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, then on to new business, and that is to formally take action on the Resolution 9-25, a resolution exempting the municipality from paying Columbia County library tax in 2026.
Motion to approve resolution 9-25.
Second.
Motion by Alder Rosted, second by Alder Meyer. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, then next would be to consider and take action on Resolution 10-25, a resolution declaring October 5th through October 12th as 2025 Fire Protection Week, or Prevention Week in the city of Columbus, Wisconsin.
Move to approve.
resolution -10-25. A
Second.
Okay, motion
You're
by
lucky.
Alder Rolke, second by Alder Meyer. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? This resolution will be posted on the city site and also at the posting places within City Hall. So be safe. Otherwise, Scott will get upset with you. So. Next is item number 6, which is to consider and take action on the collective bargaining agreement between the City of Columbus and the Columbus Police, or Columbus Professional Police Association, Local 237, Wisconsin Professional Police Association, WPPA, for the period of January 1st, 2026 through December 31st of 2027.
I will move to approve the collective bargaining agreement between the City of Columbus and the Columbus Professional Police Association, Local 237, for the period of January 1, 26 through December 31st, 2027.
Second.
Okay, motion by Alder Meyer, second by Alder Rolke. Any discussion on this? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Finkler.
Aye.
Rostad.
Aye.
Meyer.
Aye.
Relke.
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Reed.
Aye.
Ayes have it, 6-0.
Okay, thank you. Consider and take action on the change order number 1, Fireman's Park culvert removal in the increased amount of $60,000 for path construction. Matt, would you like to give an overview quick on that?
At the time we awarded this contract, we didn't have a path network identified as part of the master plan for the park. We now do. And so I've worked with Rupert Milkey and the contractor Egbert Excavating to make sure that our new bridges connect to path work. This will bring the path to connect to the restroom building in the park and provide increased connectivity through the park with the new stormwater feature in the park. I strongly believe this is our most cost-effective solution, as we have unit-based pricing in the contract, a contractor on site that is amenable to getting this additional work done. We have funding as this bid project came in considerably under what we had estimated construction costing.
I will move to approve change order number 1, Fireman's Park culvert removal and the increased amount of $60,000 for path construction.
Second.
Okay, motion by Alder Meyer, second by Alder Finkler. Any discussion further on this? Alder Rusted?
And this is under the percent that changes the bid, correct? That we don't have to go back out for the change order?
Correct.
Perfect.
Yes.
Alder Lawson?
So this is asphalt and 10 feet wide, is that correct?
10-foot wide asphalt path.
And no striping, right?
Correct.
Okay, thanks.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Reed.
Aye.
Meyer.
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Relke.
Aye.
Finkler.
Aye.
Rostad.
Aye.
Ayes have it, 6-0.
Okay, thank you. And next would be to consider and take action on the claims in the amount of $341,920.45.
I move to pay the claims in the amount of $341,920.45.
Second.
Okay, motion by Alder Lawson, second by Alder Rolke. Discussion on this? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Meyer.
Aye.
Reed.
Aye.
Finkler.
Aye.
Relke.
Aye.
Rostad.
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Ayes have it, 6-0.
Okay, then next would be report of city officers, police chief.
I just wanted to announce that we're having the Fall Drug Take Back Day on October 26th, Saturday. I believe it's the 26th.
25th.
25th, I'm sorry, 25th. In front of the Columbus Police Department from 9 a.m. until 11 a.m. You can pull up and drop off. We've promoted it through the hospital, through the city site, through Facebook. So please bring your meds, prescriptions, unused, expired, and we'll get them safely disposed of somewhere. I've staffed all of them since we've been doing them the last several years, but on this particular date, I'm going to be out of state on vacation. So one of the other officers or supervisors will be there, but please bring it down. We'll come to your car. We had people last time parking half a block away and walking it down when we had all the stalls open and signs and barricades in front of the PD. So if you have something to get rid of, please bring it down. And as a reminder, our drop box is open in the lobby of the PD 24/7 There's a secure drop box. You can come in at any time, put it in. It drops down into a secure box. Thank you. That's all I had.
All right, Matt?
I just want to share congratulations to our clerk, Susan Kane, who on Friday was appointed to serve as a director at large for the Wisconsin Municipal Clerks Association. That's a 2-year term, and I know this was a professional goal of Susan's and that she's very excited. Also point out that Susan's been selected to instruct a clerk's course at UW Green Bay as part of clerk's training regarding election security setup. So, congratulations, Susan. That's all I have.
All right, congrats. I would also like to congratulate Sue Mathwich over at the library on her upcoming retirement. Sue has been with the library for 26 years, yeah, and yeah, it's been a pleasure seeing her there and getting to know her, and just many thanks for her dedication to the library system. So with that, then I would look for a motion to convene to close session per 19.851E for deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive and bargaining reasons require a closed session, specifically to discuss 103 North Ludington Street.
So move.
Okay, motion by Alder Meyer, second by Alder Finkler to go to closed session. Discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Rostad.
Aye.
Reed. Aye. Relke.
Aye.
Finkler.
Aye.
Meyer.
Aye.
Lawson.
All right.
Ayes have it.
Okay, and we will not be conducting any further business then this evening. Thank you.